Welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast, a production from Empowering Pumps and Equipment as the voice of the pump and related equipment industry. Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 114 of the Empowering Industry Podcast. This is coming out on April the 4th, and I'm your host, Charli Matthews, and I'm joined by Becca Mechtensheimer. She's filling in for Bethany Womack. We miss you, Bethany, but I'm really excited to get to spend this time with you, Becca. So thanks for being here.
Thanks, Charli. And I know this is the first time filling in for Bethany. Normally I'm filling in for you. So I'm excited. And, for you, the listener, thank you for choosing us. And please do us a favor and leave us a rating and review. That helps us show up in the podcast platforms and helps more listeners like yourself find the show. And like every week, we are going to cover social media updates, preview the news from Empowering Pumps and Equipment, and connect you with an industry influencer. But before we start, Charli, how was your week?
I had a big week, I have to say, both personally and professionally. I got to meet my goddaughter's baby. So I'm like trying to think about that. Does that mean I'm like a grandma? Anyway, nobody's going to call me that. I'm called KK. So I'm Aunt KK, and now I guess just KK. I don't really know where to go from that. But she was precious, and you just forget how little these babies are. I mean, I got to hold her, and she actually went to her first little chiropractic visit. So that was really fun to witness. I felt like I got to do one of the firsts with her. So anyway, that was really fun. And then I went to the University of Alabama's DEI, so it was a Women in Business DEI session, and I got to speak tell a little bit about my story on harassment and how to deal with it, which was interesting, especially for the college women and kind of some of the questions. I felt like they were, taking me back to my 20s, and so that was really a wonderful week. And I got to share that. Of course, I brought Carly and my mom to a dinner that honored some of these people from the University of Alabama's business school. So just a wonderful week. What about you, Beth? I'm going to call you Bethany. It's going to happen.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. So Becca, tell me about your week.
So my week was good. I mean, definitely not nearly as eventful as yours, but to be honest, I don't even know where this week went. It was just flew by. I can't believe it's Friday. And yeah, it was overall a good week, but went way too fast, and I'm not sure where it went.
Super busy. And so I get to keep up with you a little bit on social. So I guess we'll just jump in there.
So Let's Get Social is a segment where we fill you in on a new trend and let you know what's happening in the industry on social media.
Yes, and we're going to start with Manufacturing Monday. This week is Cook Compression, and they offer custom engineered components. This is services and technical support for reciprocating compressors all around the world. Cook Solutions deliver advances in performance, extending your run times, increasing efficiency, reducing operating costs, eliminating that unplanned downtime, and resolving chronic problems. Absolutely want all of that taken care of. But they have a global presence, manufacturing facilities in North America, Europe, Asia. Plus, they have these strategic service centers all over as well. So we're proud to have Cook as a partner, and they are a proud member of Dover Precision Components. And, it's just a lot of great resources there for Cook Compression over the years. They talked to us a lot about performance critical solutions for rotating and reciprocating machinery. So we love having them as a partner. Thank you. And y'all check out this Manufacturing Monday. Another thing to check out right now, as we're in April now, is National Welders Month. And I'm really excited about connecting with our welders in our community. Becca, it's going to be so fun to see, who is interacting online through social. So everybody check that out. We've got some cool interviews coming up too. So just stay tuned. And there's some other stuff, I guess, that we need to talk about. I'll let you have this one, Becca.
Yes, we want to invite you all to our virtual meetups for April. So for empowering women, we have quite a few. So we have our monthly meetup, which is going to be on April 13th, which is every second Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And we also are going to have our mentorship circles. So this is every second Monday. And then we also have a book club, and this is going to be April 26th from 3 to 4 p.m. Central Time, which is every fourth Tuesday. So lots of things for empowering women. You definitely want to go to the website, and you can look at the links here in the show notes to get involved with all that's going on over there. And then for Empowering Pumps, our monthly meetup is going to be April 19th, which is every third Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central. And
it's exciting this week. I mean, yeah, it's super exciting this month. I'm excited. I'll let you tell all about it, but I just wanted to share my joy here.
Yes, and yeah, we love the meetups that we have with our community. And then for April, we're going to have a special guest on, and this is going to be Nick Taranova. He is a product manager at Homa Pump Technology, and he is responsible for product development, sales support, and technical expertise. He has worked for Homa Pump in many different capacities over his decade plus with the company, from shop hand to repair mechanic and order entry, product engineering. He really has a full perspective on all aspects of the pumping industry, and it's going to be great to pick his mind on this meetup. So you definitely want to sign up for the call and come with some questions and excitement to talk with Nick.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And y'all can pre-register for those events. So if you're like, wow, I can't keep up with all of those dates, then just take a look at the show notes and follow the links and sign up. We do want you to interact. So like Becca said, come prepared questions or prepared to turn your camera on and introduce yourself. This is about connecting. And you can, on that note, you can connect with us at Empowering Pumps or using that hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast. Okay. It's shout out time. I really love this because I get to see, monitor that hashtag. Again, it's Empowering Industry Podcast is the hashtag. But I also notice who shares the podcast when we send out every week we send out through social media who's on the podcast. And Bill Tipton's went out, and his wife, Gwen Tipton, who I met when I visited Connecticut. She was just so proud and, shared the post and interacted with it. And I think that's a big part of, your personal brand and, just uplifting people and sharing their stories, I think is really important. So, hey, Gwen, and it was just wonderful to see you interacting online. Just made me smile. So, hopefully we'll have more of that. Y'all continue to use that hashtag and interact and share the content because that helps us grow our audience for, maybe you'll be on the podcast in the future or something definitely that, follows in line with what you want us to be talking about. Let us know what that is. Okay. My big, I guess the social media that we're going to share today is actually digital media. It's our digital magazine that will be shared through social media. But I thought we would just go through it. Just some top level highlights. Becca, feel free to jump in at any time. I'll start with my letter because, it's at the beginning. But it's the kind of focus on Epic. And if you haven't heard about that, that is our event that we're going to have November the 14th and 15th in Pasadena, Texas at San Jacinto College. So if you want to know the real name, it's Empowering Pumps and Industry Conference, but it's Epic, and we're really excited to share that with everyone. And then, Becca, your letter was amazing. So it covered all of the April events from Water Week to WEMA's Washington Forum to Texas Water to the Water Tower Demo Day. So April was just filled with events. So I was really, really happy that you wrote that. Anything else? Well, I know there's something else that I wanted to mention. At the end of your article, you share a little bit of your passion. Tell us about that.
So everyone that knows me knows that music is like number one for me. It feeds my soul. I love it. And so one of my favorite bands has a song called Water. And so every time I think about it, obviously you think about water because that's the name of the song and that's what they're talking about. But I thought that was a great ending to a month that is all about water. So you'll definitely want to take a look at that, especially if you like a little funky music. You'll definitely appreciate it.
Yes, I love that so much. And then, you also helped us with the cover story about Emerson Automation Solutions. So I'll let you talk about that in a little bit. The knowledge shared section, it has so much content there. And I just want to highlight a couple of articles in there. So, motor power sensors and the modern water utility by load controls. I always like when they write for us, super engaging content. And then the other one I wanted to mention by ABB is 4 ways utilities can improve their energy efficiency in the urban water and wastewater cycle. Both of those and, related to water, and we're talking water here today. So check those out. And then one of my favorite sections is the industry influencers. And I get to just, praise somebody that I've met that's really cool and introduce you to them. And because I am going to, when this comes out, so if y'all are listening to it on the 4th when it comes out, the next day I'm going to be at the port in Mobile, Alabama. So I'm going to have so many different experiences to share with you from that. But Amanda Salazar with Manufacturing Alabama, she is part of Women in Manufacturing Alabama that I got to know. And so I highlighted her. Also, Danielle Kimbrough from Alabama Power. She's doing a lot in the DEI space and shared some stories with me recently of all that Southern Company is doing there. And so I just wanted y'all to take a look at those women and follow them. Really great resources. Okay. Then I guess okay is my filler word today because I've said it a lot. But Pump Talk Celebrity is one of my favorites in the magazine where we get to showcase one of our probably industry influencers at some point. And then the day in the life, this time is with Melanie Gonzalez. She is phenomenal. And if you haven't followed her, you absolutely should. She is going to be doing a lot. I would call her an emerging leader for sure. But she's just recently won an award from Black and Veatch. And so just take a look at her, follow her. And Nick, I'm not going to go into Nick as our Pump Talk celebrity yet. I'm going to hold on to that too and let you cover it. Let's just, I guess, jump in now to the cover story.
Yes. So as Charli mentioned, the cover story is by Emerson Automation Solutions. So the title of this article is Critical Analytics and Machine Health Diagnosis in a Flash. So really this article is all about remote monitoring devices on critical equipment and how when they start flashing, it's all hands on deck to figure out the problem and to do so as fast as possible. And with Emerson's AMS Asset Monitor and AMS Machine Works, plants no longer have to sweat this light going off because using these new assets that they have, you'll be able to, 1, diagnose the problem, and 2, tell you how to fix it. So Emerson's Drew Mackley puts it into this, perspective that's really relatable, and it's about your car check engine light and how the check engine light goes on and it lets you know that there's a problem, but you don't know what the problem is. You have to take your car to the shop and have them run diagnostics to see why that red light is on and what you need to do about it. So, this system basically provides more than just that red light. So it tells you, hey, you have an imbalanced rotor or an under lubricated bearing or a cracked gear. It gives you specific instructions of what the problem is and then how to fix it, which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking about my car all the time. I'd like to know, okay, is that critical? Do I need to take that in? Or is that like, I can wait a minute, like my gas light coming on.
Yes.
But I love it. So more details so that we can decide what we need to do. What better advice or device do we want?
Agreed. And, to kind of sum it all up, this great article really is detailing their solutions, the technology behind the solutions, what all you can monitor and diagnose with real life examples of how this has saved people hundreds of thousands of dollars and lots of man hours. And, really the key takeaway from the article is that by using this type of advanced monitoring, it'll truly help you find the problems before you own the problems. And by utilizing this, operations, process, reliability staff, really any staff, they even say, the accounting department, if needed, can all assist in monitoring your plant equipment using these devices.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you, Emerson, again. What a great article. And Michelle Seagrass, thanks for joining up with them and creating this for us. Just wonderful. Okay, it is time to get into the news. This is where we are going to be previewing the news coming out on empowering pumps and equipment each week. I'm really excited to, deep dive into some of these topics, and I'll give you the floor.
So for me, it's our industry person of the week. We've already talked a little bit about him, Nick Taranova from Homo Pump Technology. And, I won't go too much into it because you definitely need to read the feature, both on our website and in the digital magazine, and sign up for the meetup so you can meet him in person.
Yeah, I love that. And I want you to just think about who you can nominate for the industry person of the week. Again, we love to highlight what do we call it? Elevate and empower these people. So take a look at how, it's easy. We'll put the link in the show notes so you can just click and nominate somebody.
Yes. And so for highlighting the news, the article that I picked is Pumping Up Green Hydrogen Production for the Energy Transition. And this is from Flowserve. So this article is about expanding renewable power sources and how it can enable industrial companies to achieve their sustainability goals, while also ensuring access to clean but affordable, reliable, and secure energy. These efforts raise the urgency to build out alternative power sources and environmentally friendly industrial facilities. Among the most promising options is the so-called green hydrogen, which is produced as an industrial fuel with electricity from solar and wind sources. This article goes into superior pumps for hydrogen applications, the greening of hydrogen production, and growing demand for green hydrogen.
I have to tell you that just seeing this and seeing an article from Flowserve on this, I just feel really good about our industry. I was a little like, what are we going to do with this? What type of pumps are there for hydrogen? And, I'm just thankful that we have a partner here that's talking about that and looking ahead on what our industry is going to do. The article that I chose is from Netch Oil and Gas. It's Advances of a Digital Progressing Cavity Pump. The progressive cavity pump technology offers a wide range of applications in oil and gas operations, combines numerous advantages by growing demands in efficiency and cost effectiveness. They're confronting these challenges that are out there through digital technology. So conventional production is no longer sufficient in many cases, and so they are looking on how to digitize that. And so this article from Net will show you how to take your oil and gas production to the next level using that digital progressive cavity pumping system, which I want to learn a little bit more about too. But y'all take a look at this article, and if you have questions about it, reach out to Netch. Okay, so now is time for our industry interview. This is a segment where I find cool people, I interview them, and I share them with you. But in this case, Becca actually found them, and so I'll let you do the intro.
So this interview is with Matt DeFord. Matt he works for Altra Motion. He acquired his bachelor's degree in engineering technology from Texas State University in 2004. After completing an internship at TB Wood, he accepted a position as an application engineer. In the summer of 2006, Matt joined Ameridrives, and as an application engineer, he worked to develop a new disc coupling targeted for the natural gas compression market. While at Ameridrives, he aided in the relocation of the Ameridrives Standard Gear product line to New Braunfels, Texas. And in 2007, after Altra Motion purchased TB Woods, Matt went back to the TB Woods plant in San Marcos, Texas, where he worked with both Ameridrives and TB Wood's coupling products. He became a product support manager in 2009 and then was promoted to his current role as product manager for General Purpose Disc Couplings in 2011. Matt is married and lives in New Braunfels, Texas. In his spare time, he enjoys building 4x4 vehicles, four-wheeling, hiking, camping, and traveling. We are really looking forward to hearing the interview from Matt. So without further delay, here's your interview.
Matt, thanks so much for joining me on the Empowering Industry podcast. Before we get started, I have to just mention that I love the Jeep poster in the background. I have a Jeep, so I'm a big fan. And mine's black and a Cherokee, so not as fancy as the like Wrangler or something to go out. But anyway, it's just a little mention of that because of our fellow Jeep drivers out there. You know, we're kind of a community of sorts.
It's a family.
Yes. Well, Matt, okay. So I'd love to start just by letting people know kind of who you are, what you stand for, what you do. So just tell us your story.
Well, I'm Matt DeFord. I'm the product manager for General Purpose Disc Couplings for TB Woods and Ameridrives. TB Woods and Ameridrives are part of Altra Motion. That's our parent company. I started with TB Woods in 2003 when I was doing my internship for my engineering technology degree at Texas State University, which is located in San Marcos, Texas, where the TB Woods coupling facility is also located. When I finished my degree, I stayed on with TB Woods as an application engineer. Did that for a couple of years and then joined Ameridrives to develop a gas compression coupling because Ameridrives wanted to target that market. It's a very good market in the U.S. We power almost everything on natural gas or coal, and we're moving more towards natural gas and solar and wind. So it's been good place for us to be located in Central Texas as well.
Yeah, and I was just thinking that Bethany would love that. Just another She's graduated from Texas, and she just we love to kind of highlight Texas on the podcast just because there is so much industry there. There's so many engineers in the community there. So we're glad that you stuck around. But I'm really curious on how and kind of why, like, how do you get into couplings and the coupling industry?
Well, I've always been curious of how things work, and you don't go to college wanting to get into coupling industry, and usually not many industries you're focused on when you start college. You're going for a education, and you kind of fall into whatever you do afterwards. I was always interested in how things worked. My dad and grandpa were always repairing things. They could fix anything. I've seen car engines rebuilt on a desk in my dad's garage.
That's really cool.
I was always around it, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But when I went to the Army, it gave me some time to think, and working on tanks and seeing how they're put together, it really kind of set a light bulb off in my head of maybe I should be an engineer because I like figuring out how things work. I like building things. And to go back to the Jeep thing, that's also kind of how I got into it, because I got a Jeep for graduation, and the modifications and building have never stopped to the extent where I started designing my own parts and doing my own fabrication to build the Jeep into what it is today.
That's awesome. So a couple of things. Yeah, a couple of things. First, thank you for your service. We appreciate you so much. And, I can totally see that about you, tinkering with the Jeep and really just, I think that there's a commonality with that of just, like you said, how do things work and can I fix this myself? And, what do we need that's not out there yet? And let me create it. So that's really fascinating. And so you've been there for a while. You've been at Altra for a while and developing several couplings. But tell us a little bit about disc couplings, what has changed in the last, 20 years?
With disc coupling, the technology has been around a very long time, but in the last 20 years, the major improvements have been unitization of disc packs, which ease assembly, but
Mhm.
they also um, they make for a disc pack that's all one unit, so customers can't add and remove blades. And whether they like to do that to adjust the axial spacing or not, the manufacturers typically don't want the customers to do that. So the unitized disc pack, for me, is a good insurance of making sure they don't mess with the dynamics of the coupling. And then scalloped disc packs. They've come around probably about 20 years ago, and they were a way to make a a lighter weight disc pack with lower reaction forces, which typically are more like the high performance designs. And you can see one on my wall right here. This is the scalloped design that Ameridrives developed for their high performance disc couplings. And so those are the main two.
I was just so like nervous, like that wasn't going to hang back up on the wall. So, but you did a great job. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I was drawn to that, and so I'm glad that you got to show our listeners that as well. I think that's a big part of it. I am want to back up a little bit. Like if somebody doesn't really understand couplings, why would you use this, especially like in a pump application? Why are disc couplings necessary?
I wouldn't call them necessary. They fill a need. There's lots of other couplings out there that are cheaper that can be used in pumping applications, and that's what you get in a lot of your ANSI pumps.
Yeah.
Is small rubber couplings, maybe a couple $100 each. A disc coupling is put into, it can solve problems, or it can be put into a pump application because of a specification, such as API 610 or API 671, which drive the coupling requirements to disc couplings. Um, there's other specs out there like API 618 for recip compressors that require a disc coupling. But the disc coupling is going to give you longer life than most elastomeric style couplings. It will also provide lower vibration because the couplings have better inherent balance. And there's no moving parts. So if you had a gear coupling compared to a disc coupling, there's going to be no lubrication. So you get long life, no lubrication. It's almost a set it and forget it type coupling. And I've seen these things on pump applications last 20 plus years. I've seen disc couplings on reciprocating compressor applications, which are some of the most severe applications in the market, last the same amount of time, 15, 20 years with no problems. They just set them up and they run, and people forget they're out there until they break. And then it's an
Right.
emergency. But you're going to get
Well,
a longer life, but you're going to pay for it as well. It's going to be a little bit harder to install, a higher price point, but in my mind, you pay for peace of mind. And that's what you're doing in this instance.
Yeah, and just the maintenance cost to kind of change those things out on a regular basis. People really need to think through that and make a plan of the overall cost when they're
Well, that
looking
or
at
even
these
just
systems.
walking around checking couplings. They don't have to do that as often. They can use those efforts to work on something else or inspect something else. So yeah,
So
it's
when
just
something goes wrong, what is that? So tell us, what is a problem that is solved by having these?
well, you could solve problems such as torsional dynamic situations. A rubber coupling can do the same by decoupling the vibration. A disc coupling can be tuned. Um, they're going to have the same modifications. We can add inertia, we can tune stiffness on the coupling to make the system perform as the torsional vibration analysis wants it to. Um, but you can use one or the other. It's not always a problem solver. It's more of it increases the life of your equipment or makes a lower total cost of ownership is how we usually promote it because of that reduced downtime, reduced maintenance time.
So this is kind of off subject. I didn't really prepare you for this, but I'm just curious. What, as an engineer in this industry and kind of staying there for several decades, right? How do you Like, do you have any advice for a young engineer coming into this industry?
Well, I know that it's becoming more and more competitive all the time. And some of the big things that we see that sets one applicant apart from another is work in the industry or internships. Uh, Lots of people are going out and getting multiple internships. So if you have no internships, you're not going to be as good a candidate as someone who's gone out and done something during college to get additional life experience and work experience. And life experience comes into that big part as well, because if you've never had a job and you've only gone to school versus someone who's had a job, had to report to work and do all the necessary duties, that person is better prepared for uh, life in the real world than someone who's only been a student their whole life. So go out and get a job, even if it's waiting tables or something. It's life experience, and it shows that you're out there trying to support yourself. And that goes a long ways when we're trying to hire someone over someone who has no job experience. I'd prefer a little bit versus none.
Yeah, and it also shows initiative, right? Where
Yeah,
like when you're in school, sometimes, if you're doing something, really anything extra, you really take notice of that and that
yeah,
person being unique, and kind of want those type of people on your team that will go a little extra, not just what's my job. And never say, I'll give a little advice here. Never say that's not my job.
yeah,
That's probably the
yeah.
worst advice.
Yeah, we call
Okay.
those T and MJs. We don't want T and MJs.
That's right. That's right. Well, just as we've been talking, I'm just curious if there's anything else that you want our listeners to know.
Well, I want them to remember TB Woods and Ameridrives for their coupling needs. Part of Altra Industrial Motion, we have products for all power transmission needs. We're located in San Marcos, Texas. I am specifically, which is good for the oil and gas industry, but we're also on main corridors for transportation, which is really why we were located here in the first place. Um,
And he's got the background, y'all. If y'all just want to talk cars with him, he can definitely
Yeah,
do that.
I tug Jeeps all day long. I can't go cars that much, but
Okay.
I'm a big off-road guy with the four-wheel drive club, and it's a good location for me here as well because all the trails are about 2 to 3 hours away.
That's awesome.
No, but
Okay. Well, if somebody wanted to, go ahead.
I was gonna pick. I had dropped something here. So for us, you can call us anytime. We have a support group. We have a 24-hour service line for TB Wood. You can find our products online. We also have coupling selectors online for customers who don't know what they need or how to select a coupling. They can go to our website and play with the coupling selectors to find the product they need for their application.
Yeah, that's becoming very common place as far as going to different websites and having this kind of selection process. And so I'm thankful, right, because we
Yeah,
are moving towards this digital side of things, and so the ease of use to get what you want when you need it, or get some advice on what you need when
yeah.
you need it. So wonderful. And if they wanted to contact you directly, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
To get in touch with me, my direct email is the only way to get in touch with me. Matt.DeFord, that's Delta Echo, and then Ford, like the automobile, at tbwoods.com. Other than that, they can look up our product selection tools on tbwoods.com. We're also on LinkedIn, and I believe we have a YouTube. So we have facebook.com/Altra Motion. We're on Twitter/Altra Motion. We have a LinkedIn account, and Altra has a YouTube account, which all of those can be found with a pretty quick Google search.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll include all that in the show notes as well. Okay, one more thing. I'm super curious about, and we've done this before on the podcast, and so it's just like a little rapid fire. It's kind of fun. And this is, what is your favorite book?
Favorite book? I'm a fan of action adventure, and I guess the series that I read that stuck with me the longest was The Dark Tower by
Okay.
Stephen King.
All right. And do you have a favorite song?
It would probably be Pantera Respect.
Okay, I like it. And then the last thing is, what advice? And I know you've given this to others. So we've already done that one. So, what is the best advice you have received over the years?
I guess one of them is if you're not early, you're late. I hate tardiness, myself included. And if you're there on time or early, you're also often a candidate for additional responsibility. Showing up is half the battle most times, and doing it on time is really noticed by your managers, supervisors, whatever you call them. So that's one of them. There's probably others, but I wasn't well prepared for that one.
I know. I like to just give them a little something at the end, right? That showcases you. But I really appreciate you coming on here and, telling us about the couplings. And I think that, the next step is people to go and check out the website, see what they need, contact you, and just appreciate your time today.
Well, thank you very much, Charlie. Thank you for having me on, and all the viewers, thank you for watching.
Thanks so much, Charlie, for arranging this interview. Do you have any thoughts or last things you want to say?
Well, I enjoyed the interview. We got to talk about Jeeps, so that's always super fun for me. I am a Jeep lover, so if there are any of you out there, please send me a message. I also just wanted to remind everybody, we're in April, and this is National Welders Month, and we have some really cool interviews. The next interview we're going to do is with Boom Nation, and this is really going to solve some of our challenges of recruiting and retaining talent in the workforce. So I'm excited to share that with you. I'm excited to see our welders engaging online. And I guess, that brings us to the end of our show. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Do us a favor and subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on iTunes, preferably 5 stars.
Yes, and always reach out to us at Empowering Pumps using the hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast, or email us podcast@empoweringpumps.com.
And we'll be back next week with a new episode.
So until then, be empowering. We miss you, Bethany. Aw, Woodrow.
Like, not again.
I guess we push stop.